Hey guys, today on Watch with Poppy, we are trying something a little new. This is episode number 1 of This Week in TV. So you guys know that I do recaps and reviews of lots of different TV shows throughout the week. But guess what? I watch lots more TV than I actually talk about on YouTube. So this show is a show to kind of talk about all of the rest of the TV that I watch. I don't know if I'll do this every week, but this week, a lot of the other shows I love had some cool things going on and some not so good things going on. So we're going to talk about that show by show. So here we go. Okay, so the first show I'm going to talk about is Castle. I love this show, you guys. If you're not watching it, you totally should. Nathan Fillion will forever and always be Captain Mal Reynolds to me. Firefly for life, people. But anyway... Don't get me started on my Firefly rant, because I will go there. This show, though, I've loved this show for as long as it's been on, but let me just say that lately it's starting to feel like this show is getting a little formulaic. So, for example, this week, Castle finds out that his daughter, Alexis, who is 18 and in college, he finds out that she's making video vlogs that she's posting online. And as a concerned parent, you know, he's scared that she's going to get stalked and all this other stuff. So there's this whole little kind of tug of war between the two of them throughout the episode. And this is not the first time that that's happened on Castle. I mean, that's kind of a theme where, you know, like maybe every 5 or 6 episodes, you know, there's some sort of father-daughter struggle where, you know, Castle in the end realizes that he's got to let his baby girl grow up. But this week it just felt really kind of old and I was kind of over it. Unless, of course, they are setting it up because Alexis is gonna die. I was totally thinking of this later. Unless this whole, you know, episode was kind of foreshadowing, like she is gonna get killed by a serial killer or something, and that would be kind of horrible. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Okay, next we're moving over to the CW. First, let's talk about Arrow. I don't know what it is exactly. I feel like ever since they got back from their, like, winter hiatus, it's just been, like, off its game. I don't know how else to explain it other than that. It just hasn't felt as good, and it's just been weird. Last week's episode was just like complete filler and just drove me insane. This week was better, you know, it was kind of a Diggle-centered episode, which was good, and I really enjoyed that, but overall it's still feeling like it's like, I don't know, like revving itself back up or something. So here's hoping that that happens soon. One thing I will say is this week at the end of the episode, like the last 5 minutes, they totally surprised me. Like I was not expecting what happened to happen, and it happened, and I was like, what? So that was good. So hopefully, you know, that last 5 minutes is, you know, a sign of what's to come. Okay, next we're going to talk Supernatural, which is one of my faves. I love the Winchester boys and kind of all the mess they get themselves into. But I was super excited for this week's episode because Felicia Day was back in her role as Charlie Bradbury, and they just need to make this woman a series regular, right? Because she was so fantastic. Charlie was just, I mean, she's just funny, and this episode was funny and light, and you know, there was still the kind of like, you know, demon we're dealing with. The best part was because the whole episode was kind of like the boys dealing with whatever supernatural element they're dealing with, but it all happened at this like live action role-playing event that was like a medieval kind of like battle / fair, and I mean, it was just great. I will say that episode has been kind of like a shining light in what's going on in Season 8, because Season 8 has just really felt very unfocused. I don't know. All I know is this week's episode was fantastic. Here's hoping that Charlie Bradbury makes another appearance really, really soon. Okay, now we're heading over to NBC and The Office. And yes, people, I am one of those people that is still watching The Office. Like, I love this show. The American version. I have seen some of the British version, but I love the American version and, you know, have loved it. Obviously, one of the highlights of the show is the relationship between Jim and Pam. And now they're married and they've got kids, and this season I think they've just kind of been playing a lot on that and what happens when, you know, you had this great romance but then you get married and life gets kind of mundane and normal. But I was a little traumatized, like, after this week's episode, because if you haven't heard, like, Jim and Pam had a fight, and I don't mean just like a, I disagree and we're gonna, like, look angry at each other. I'm talking like a really, like, fight, like we were yelling at each other over the phone, and it was not beautiful, and I was just like, I was amazed. I was kind of shocked at my reaction to it, because I was just like, I don't like this. I don't like Jim and Pam fighting. So I hope they're not trying to make this point that Jim and Pam are like every other couple, you know, whatever. I don't want them to be like every other couple. I want them to be happy. So that better happen, NBC. The other obviously like huge thing in this episode was that we actually saw the faces of some of the documentary crew. So at the end, after they have their fight, Pam's sitting in the office and she just breaks down. And big ups to the actress Jenna Fisher, I think her name is. She was like, hello, somebody give that woman some sort of TV award for that scene, because she was fantastic. But she starts crying, and then one of the guys is just like, okay, stop filming. And he goes to comfort her, because obviously over the years they've become friends. So it was just kind of like, I was shocked by the fight, and then I was shocked by the fact that I saw one of the like documentary crew camera people. So it was just kind of like, it was kind of weird and kind of crazy. So yeah. Okay, let's talk Elementary. So this is a show that I started watching when it premiered in the fall, and I watched the pilot episode, and then I probably watched maybe 3 or 4 episodes before I kind of lost interest. And I think the reason I stopped watching isn't because I thought it was bad or anything weird happened. It just was kind of like one of those things where it was like, I don't really care anymore, so I stopped watching. So basically, like maybe 2 or 3 Thursdays ago, when there was no new episode of Scandal, I sat down to watch Elementary. And I actually like enjoyed it. So it was kind of one of those things where it's like I picked it back up. So this week's episode was really good. I love the relationship that they're kind of developing between Sherlock and Watson. And I love the fact that, you know, obviously because Lucy Liu plays Watson, so, you know, she's female Watson, that it's not a romantic relationship, but it's more of this kind of working relationship that you can tell is gonna turn into a really deep friendship. And I really like that a lot. So I will keep watching Elementary. Good on you. Okay, and the last TV show I'm going to talk about this week is ABC's Nashville. And you guys, this show for me is probably my favorite show from the new like fall freshman class. And this show started good and it just stayed that way. I mean, like, it just has not disappointed me. I hope more people watch and that it gets renewed for a 2nd season, because I really, really enjoy the show. The music is fantastic. This week's episode was all about, you know, Raina and Juliet on tour, and there's this big struggle going on between the two of them, which is just fantastic. And then also at the same time, the way they set up their next episode, I mean, like, the ending of this episode was just like, what is happening on Nashville? I'm so excited. But again, you have to wait 2 weeks. And what's that all about? The mini TV rant right here, people. You know, didn't we just have a winter hiatus? I mean, like, I just spent 6 weeks without new television, so we could go away and take a break. And now we're back from winter hiatus. And some of the shows that I love have literally shown 1 or 2 episodes, and then they're taking a break for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And it's like, really? Like, you didn't have enough of the break before? We have another break now? I don't know what's going on. And rant. Okay, so that's the very first episode of This Week in TV. As always, you guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out the other recaps and reviews that I do throughout the week. Tons of other shows that I watch, you guys, that I didn't talk about in this episode, because they have their own, like, full recaps and reviews. Shows like The Vampire Diaries, Once Upon a Time, Scandal, and so many more. So you definitely want to make sure to check those out. I will see you guys again soon. Bye.